Hello there guys, my name is J.O. Gimpy Dwarf and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So I've gone through and made another craft that is from a TV series, and I do this every now and then when I get a little bit bored and I want to just create something that was already, invented on a program or a movie. And if some of you don't already know what this is the Whizzing arrow from the TV series Oban Star Racers. Now, it's a Japanese animation and it was an amazing program that I used to watch, and basically what this craft was designed to do was to compete in a race that was very much like Death Race, where you were allowed weapons. And basically what happened was Earth were competing with a few other planets to win the ultimate prize. Nobody knew what the ultimate prize was, but they still competed because Earth were worried that it could have been a weapon of some sort, or something that could mean the end of the human race. And it was a really, really cool program to watch, and I decided to go through and try and build something that looked very similar to that of the Whizzing arrow. Now, the Whizzing arrow was a very odd shaped design, very much like a Star Wars design, in all fairness. It's got the cockpit at the back, you can see through the middle, and then you've got your engines on the side. And the whole idea of the Whizzing arrow was it had these two giant engine pods that had all your your thrusting and whatnot, and then you'd have a gunner. Now, there was only meant to be one gunner on this craft, and what happened was the gunner would be in the one turret, and then what would happen is he would then be transported to the other side in like a ball, and then the turret would refold out and allow you to fire on the other side. And I couldn't replicate that because it's very difficult, the whole mechanics of that and how that would work. But I decided to stick to gunners on either side, well, one gunner on either side, and then have a pilot. So this will cater for 3 people all in all. It's a bit tight in here, and I haven't really done a lot in terms of interior and making it look very pretty inside. Just put a few screens down and no lights or anything. It's very, very simple and very, very easy to load up with the mods and whatnot. So overall, I think I've done a pretty damn decent job. It does have 4 forward-mounted machine guns as well as the 2 side turrets. It also has a few connections on the sides here, and then another one on the side mirrored. Reason why is because I was wondering how the hell would you refuel this in a Space Engineer scenario. So I've given it the option to refuel and rearm through those sections there. And then of course I've added on all these thrusters and tried to get the design in purple to look similar to what is of the Whizzing arrow on the TV show. So hopefully you guys are happy with this, and any fans of Oban Star Racers, hopefully I haven't screwed up the series for you by building this and annoyed you in any way, because I think, being a fan of the TV series as well, I think I've done a fairly good job. So there are a few controls to this, and basically you've got your machine guns, which are, they sound really nice and are very, very efficient in doing what they do. You can, in the cockpit, easily see where you're aiming with those as well. Trouble is, you can't see past the wings, you can only see what's directly in front of you. So you are reliant on the gunners to tell you where the enemy are and where to move. So that's one problem with this craft, but again, that was built into the actual series and the ship itself by the creators of Oban Star Racers. So I can't do anything about that. It was strictly a design choice made by them, so you can't really complain about that. The spaceballs are there because when you land, you'd basically just sit this thing down on those spaceballs and they give it a nice cushioning, and I think it sits really nicely when it lands. I really like the way it sort of sits and chills back a little bit. It's quite nice. But you also have the control over the door. Now, with the door, you do have oxygen inside here. The cockpits aren't oxygenated cockpits, but that was just down to piping issues. But you do have fully oxygenated area in here, so you have your vents either side, and then you have a force field that keeps all the oxygen in, so you can just walk in and out of this freely and not have any worries really of having to depressurize and repressurize. We do have a door here. Now, you do, as the pilot, have complete control over that door, so you can hit number 3, close it, hit number 4 to turn it off, and then that way you can't control it anymore. And you just have those general controls just for safety measures. Then you also have your antenna, which just says the Whizzing Arrow MK3. There were a few variants of the Whizzing Arrow throughout the series, and I just went with the very sort of final version. Again, there's quite a few features that aren't available on this craft, just down to space engineers being space engineers. But overall, I think it works quite nicely, and it flies like a dream. I must say, it's great to fly. I love flying it around. Literally, I must have sat here for about 25-30 minutes just flying it around, trying to pull tricks off and stuff with it. But yeah, I mean, I think the amount of gyroscopes is quite good, and I think it's all that's really needed, because it was quite a lumbrous ship, and it was one of the bigger ships in Oban Star Racers. And yeah, I really do like what I've done with it. Now, what I'll also do is I'll actually jump out of here. Only problem with the cockpit is you will find yourself jumping outside the ship sometimes, because it is quite small. And as you can see now, I've locked myself out. So I'm going to turn the door back on manually, jump back in here, and jump back into one of these, in which you will have control over a turret. Now, these turrets are quite cool because they do go 360, but you can fire directly in front of you and increase the firepower to the front of the ship. You can go behind you, but the one problem is, like directly above the craft and directly below the craft, you're screwed, which again is a design feature put into it via the people who create the series, so I can't really do much with that. But the turrets work really well, and I think they're a nice replacement for it, and they seem to fit in quite nicely. But yeah, I think that's all I've really got to show for this craft. This craft is on the workshop now, so if you guys do wish to go and play around with it yourself and relive childhood memories of flying around in the Whizzing Arrow, then feel free to take this, play around with it. There'll be a full mods list in the description, so if you want to just create a blueprint of it and just drag it into other worlds, you can do. And yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this build as much as I've enjoyed making it. And if you do have any suggestions of stuff you wish for me to build, from be it an animation, movie, even real life, maybe, give me a shout, and I will, give me a shout in the comment section, and I'll happily look at trying to build something from that series using mods as well as vanilla. Some ships, I know some people are going to be like, well, can't you just build it in vanilla? It's really easy for everyone else. Some ships you can't get the detail in with vanilla, and it's really difficult, so I would prefer to do it with mods. So again, any ideas, guys, give me a shout. If you want me to build something from The Martian, in all fairness, I want to, when planets come about, I really want to build the Martian sort of station of sorts. But yeah, if you have any ideas, give me a shout in the comment section below. If you guys have enjoyed, then please like, favourite, and of course subscribe for more. Go check it out on the workshop, and I will see you guys later. Peace!